My wife flew to Paris with her ex, so I sent one photo that changed everything. The message came at 2:17 a.m., lighting up the dark room like a quiet explosion. I'm going to Paris with him, I need space. For a moment my heart didn't just break, it froze, as if it refused to accept what my eyes were seeing. My wife, my entire world, was boarding a flight to another country with the one person I had always feared would come back into her life. And just like that, everything we had built together felt like it had been erased with a single sentence. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, because this story might just change the way you see relationships forever. I didn't reply to her message that night. I couldn't. Words felt useless, small, powerless against something so heavy. Instead, I just sat there on the edge of the bed, staring at the suitcase she had packed hours earlier, pretending it was just another work trip. I remembered how she avoided my eyes, how her smile didn't quite reach her face, how something inside her had already started drifting away long before she ever stepped onto that plane. The silence in the house was unbearable after she left. It wasn't just quiet, it was hollow. Every corner of the home carried her presence. The cup she used every morning, the soft blanket she always wrapped around herself on the couch, the faint scent of her perfume still lingering in the air. It all felt like a cruel reminder that she was gone and not alone. Days passed, but time didn't move the way it used to. It dragged. Each morning felt heavier than the last. I stopped answering calls, stopped meeting friends, stopped pretending that everything was okay, because it was. There's a kind of pain that doesn't scream, it just sits quietly inside you, slowly tearing you apart. What hurt the most wasn't just that she left, it was who she left with, her ex. The man she once told me was a closed chapter. The man she said she had outgrown. The man I had silently compared myself to more times than I'd like to admit. I had trusted her, completely. And now that trust felt like shattered glass, impossible to put back together without cutting myself again. I found myself scrolling through old photos late at night. Pictures of us laughing, traveling, celebrating small wins, holding on to each other like nothing in the world could break us. And I kept asking myself the same question over and over again. When did we start losing this? But life has a strange way of forcing you forward, even when you want to stay stuck. One evening, about a week after she left, I found myself cleaning the house. Not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't stand the stillness anymore. I needed something to do, something to distract my mind from the endless loop of why and what if. That's when I found it. Tucked inside one of the drawers was an old envelope. Inside it were photos, real, printed ones, moments frozen in time. Us at the beach, her laughing as the wind tangled her hair, me looking at her like she was the only person in the world. And at the very bottom, a photo I didn't even remember taking. It was from a hospital room. She was lying in bed, weak but smiling, holding my hand like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. That was the time she had gone through one of the hardest phases of her life, and I had been there every single day, never leaving her side. I remembered the sleepless nights, the fear, the prayers whispered into the silence. I remembered promising myself that no matter what, I would never let her feel alone. And in that moment, something inside me shifted, not anger, not revenge, but clarity. She had left, maybe because she was confused, maybe because she was chasing something she thought she lost. But what we had wasn't just memories, it was something real, something tested through pain and time. And if there was even the smallest chance that she had forgotten that, I needed to remind her. So I did something simple. I took a photo, not of myself, not of the empty house, but of that old hospital picture, the one that captured everything words couldn't. I sent it to her without any message, without any explanation, just the image. And then I waited. Hours passed, nothing. A day passed, still nothing. I told myself I didn't expect a reply, that I had already said everything I needed to say through that photo. But deep down, there was a small, fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, it would reach her in a way my words couldn't. 3 days later, my phone rang. Her name lit up the screen, and for a second I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled as I answered, not knowing what to expect. Her voice on the other end was different, softer, broken. She didn't start with an explanation. She didn't try to justify anything. Instead, there was silence, followed by a quiet sob she couldn't hold back. In that moment, I realized something important. Sometimes people don't leave because they stop loving you. Sometimes they leave because they get lost. In their past, in their doubts, in the parts of themselves they haven't healed yet. She told me that being in Paris didn't feel like freedom. It felt like a mistake. That every street, every moment reminded her not of him but of me, of what we had built together, of the life she had walked away from, and that photo, the one I sent, broke something inside her, not in a painful way, but in a way that made her see clearly again. It reminded her of who stayed when things were hard, who loved her when she wasn't at her best, who chose her over and over again without hesitation. She said she didn't know if I could ever forgive her, and the truth was I didn't know either. Forgiveness isn't something that happens instantly. It doesn't erase the pain or make everything okay again. It's a process, a slow, sometimes difficult journey of choosing to heal instead of holding on to the hurt. But as I listened to her cry, I realized something else. Love isn't about perfection, it's about presence. About staying when it's easier to walk away. About finding your way back to each other, even after getting lost. Weeks later, she came home. It wasn't like the movies. There were no dramatic reunions or perfect words. Just two people standing in the same space again, carrying the weight of everything that had happened. We didn't fix everything overnight. It took time, honest conversations, painful truths, small steps forward. There were moments of doubt, moments where the past tried to pull us apart again, but there were also moments of healing, moments where we laughed again, where we remembered why we chose each other in the first place, where we started rebuilding something stronger, not because it was easy, but because it was real. And that one photo, the one I sent in silence, became a symbol of everything we almost lost and everything we fought to get back. Before this story ends, I want you to do one thing. Leave a comment and tell me, have you ever given someone a second chance, or wished you had? Because sometimes the smallest actions carry the deepest meanings. Sometimes love doesn't need long speeches or grand gestures. Sometimes it just needs a reminder of what truly matters. If this story touched your heart even a little, don't forget to like, share, and comment. And tell me, what country are you watching this from? I'd love to see how far this story travels and who it reaches around the world.